I work with so many people that talk about their past hurts. And they tell me that they ruminate about these past hurts at times. And often when things get quiet, like when you go to bed at night, that unhealed part of you surfaces. And you replay those past hurts over and over and over in your mind. Maybe you've hurt yourself and you have regrets of some decisions you made. And you play these over and over and over again. It's called ruminating. And what happens with this is you aren't healed from it. And so you ruminate. And it comes out as being discontent or complaining. Or, you store that stuff in your body and it can make you sick. I know it affects your mental health, but it can affect your physical health. The first time somebody hurt you, you got resentment. You replay it over and over and over in your mind, and it becomes a resentment, and it affects you. And the first thing they say is, I don't want to relive that. I'm not going back there. But they relive it every night when they go to bed. And so I encourage them to flush out those feelings, those resentments. They turn into a root of bitterness, and it eats away. It's like taking poison to hurt the other person. And yourself, you take the poison yourself to try to hurt someone else. And it doesn't change anything. And you can't change the past. So much of what we struggle with is our thinking about it and rethinking, ruminating about the past and fixating on the future. Is this going to happen to me again? I know that I was terminated from a job at age 63. And it was a huge betrayal to me because a colleague of mine that I worked really close with and trusted wanted my job. And so she conspired with the COO, and the two of them managed to get me terminated. And it was a betrayal. And the best thing you can do is to write about these things, to flush it out, to not sit with it, and then to work on some forgiveness. And it's hard to forgive. Forgiveness doesn't mean it lets them off the hook. It lets you off the hook. And it keeps you from this ruminating. And so this is a pattern, and it becomes a habit that you can ruminate about the many hurts, the betrayals, the things that happened. So when I work with someone, I have them take a piece of paper and a pen. Don't do it on a computer. Don't do it on a tablet. Get a piece of paper. More comes out. And you can write about, I am resentful about, or I am resentful at. So you write out your resentment. Then you can write out, why. And then what did it affect in you? And you write about these things. And then what fears do you have around these resentments? What are your fears? And you write them out. The best technique I like to use is called the unsent letter. So you sit down and you write a letter to that person. It's not to be sent. Nobody else is to see it. Nobody else is to see any of this. Then you write the letter to the person. You say whatever you want to say to this person. How you felt, call them names, whatever. And you write it out. And then at the bottom of all of these writings that you do, you put, I release this. You can release it to the universe, to God, to just somewhere outside of yourself. And then do a ritual. You can take and shred all these papers. I like the burning ritual. You take your papers and you go outside and burn them. And while they're burning, you watch that stuff being released into the universe or to God. And as it releases, you look at the fire, and I have my clients tell themselves, if I want to take that back, I have to stick my hand in the fire. And then once it's burned out, you can leave the ashes there. You can burn your stuff in an old coffee can. Probably have to be an old one because they have metal. And then, you know, when it's cold, put a lid on it. You can take them ashes anywhere, or you can throw the whole thing in the trash. The idea is to flush it outside of yourself. You know, whatever you don't release, I like the saying, release or be dragged, because that's kind of what happens. You get drug around by these past hurts, and they live in your head, and they settle in your body, and it causes dis-ease. Dis-ease in the spirit, disease in the body. So you release these. Don't bring them back in your house. Get that stuff outside. If you use a shredder, take that stuff to the shredder, dump it in the trash and take it out. And then bless your house. Bless your house. Take a quiet time. Sit down. Meditate. Put in some positive stuff. Read scripture. If you're a person of faith, you can read something motivational. Get here on YouTube and watch something that's inspiring. To put good stuff back in. And then you can use the technique of reframing. That'll come back up. It's a habit. You have to, then you can work on breaking the habit. You're no longer carrying that inside. You can reframe. And the best thing is, comes up and you tell yourself, I'm not sticking my hand back in the fire. That person was sick. Bless them. Change me. There's a lot of techniques. You can dilute it. You can think stop. Envision a stop sign. Stop. I use the thought interrupter of counting backwards in a mantra. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I can relax and go to sleep. And those things will begin to work to where they didn't before because it was still stored inside. This is a big process, and it can be very emotional, but what you gain is freedom on the other side. Freedom from past hurts. This is an unhealthy pattern that will repeat itself. And you can use this the next time something happens, you get hurt, or you feel betrayed, or things aren't fair. You can write about it, release it, and go on. And every time it comes back up, you can repeat this. If the first initial writing doesn't, free you from it, do it again. Do it again. And get free of this. And live free. I know that I worked, I have a really good friend. We're accountability partners. She lives in Canada. And she was dealing with this resentment that she had. And I suggested she do this, and she did. And when I went to visit 2 years, we made a video about her doing this. And so I'm going to post that video here, and you can watch it next. And if you want to do this process, you have some questions or some stuff, send me an email. I'll email you back. I work with clients one-on-one in a coaching capacity. It's all in the description. And the most important thing that I want to leave you with is to be you on purpose.